Okay, and we're recording.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our September 22nd DD Advisory Council meeting. Sorry, we're a little bit late. There was some mix up with the room. So how is everybody? Good. Okay, everybody can hear us and it's clear and good. Perfect. Okay. So I guess we will establish quorum and then kind of move on. Hopefully Chris can join us. So I think we do six of us.
Seven. Do I count seven? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
Did you count yourself?
me, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
It's nice to see everybody's faces after a break.
Bruce said he won't be here. You guys maybe already got the email, but he did say he wouldn't be here
Today,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I didn't hear anything from Chris. Have you heard anything from Chris? Okay. All right. Okay, so did everybody get a copy of the last month's minutes or the last meeting's minutes, I guess? Yes. Anybody have anything that they saw that wasn't correct or that they needed to make a comment on? John?
All right, I will abstain since I missed the meeting, but can you explain to me, what's the change of the bylaws just real quickly? So I understand when the meeting, when the minutes get done, I understand what direction we're going.
The last.
Well, I can take that later.
Changed. Or that I guess we had voted on. I thought that was the one.
There might be another meeting, and if I apologize to the council. Advisory council.
What? Let me look, John, just a second.
Thank you.
I feel like that may have been the meeting prior.
Okay, then let's move
Oh,
on.
no, actually, John, I'm wrong. So it was the first sentence review.
Okay,
So the main reason for the review was to ensure that the sentence made sense. Describing what the council is and does and is cohesive with the rest of the bylaws. I think it was just that there was a lot of extra kind of wording in there that made it really hard to describe to individuals, like plain language, easier to understand. And so there was just some language cleanup on that.
okay.
There were a couple of options. The original approved version, there was a second revised plain language, which I don't have that in front of me. And then there was a third option and the council voted the second option in, and I'm sorry, I don't have that in front of me and I'm not
It's
sure.
all right. Okay, I just want, even though I have to abstain, I need to understand, being the only voice in this portion. But by the types and others, my open dominate other conversations, I appreciate that clarification. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's the only question I had on the.
Okay. If you share. Anybody else have any questions or comments or anything that they saw that didn't make sense, they didn't agree with? No? Can we move to vote to approve then last meeting's minutes? Everyone in favor of the last meeting's minutes? John or Lisa? 30 minutes says it's here. No, I guess I have to go too. I forget. Okay, great. It looks like the last meeting's minutes have been approved. That was for June.
And for the record, I abstained because I was not the last meeting. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so approval of the meeting minutes. And then, did you want to do the next?
Yeah, so I just was bringing up the,
No, right here. Okay, all right, so where is it? We have, okay, perfect.
here, I know that.
So the next item is John. It has to do with you, sir. So we, as a council, just wanted to recognize your dedication as chair. And we made you a certificate of appreciation for all of your hard work, your dedication, and always just jumping in and keeping us on track and bringing in new ideas. We really appreciate you. So we wanted to say thank you, John.
I appreciate it and thank you very much. As we move forward, I can't wait to see the future, no matter what direction it may be. Thank you.
So hopefully we'll
No.
get to see you soon so we can actually present you with this certificate.
Well,
The one time you're not here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm in Salem right now, and I do have you scheduled for next month in ways. I have my own life after the meeting, so I appreciate it and I will pick it up, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the next item up would be program updates and any new hires for Stacy.
Yeah, hi, I have a few. Kim's on vacation back in Iowa for a couple weeks, so that's why she's not present today. Our program continues to hire, so we'll start with that. Thank you for those of you who have participated on interview panels and included. We recently hired promoted, I would say internally, a kids DRC, designated referral coordinator. That's to assist with residential placements for children, and that's Carissa Gundel. She'll be moving from actually think she might already be in the position, maybe, if not moving to it very soon, but is transitioning from a caseload. So Carissa was just promoted into that position. I will actually let Amy talk about the other two hires next. Go ahead.
So as you guys, may remember, I think back in June, I moved into our quality assurance, supervisor position for the program. And since then, we have added 2 quality assurance program specialists into the unit. Some of you may know them. It was actually a really competitive recruitment. We had over 130 candidates, which is like unheard of for us. Yeah. So it was a really tough recruitment, a lot of great people. We actually ended up moving forward with Christy Wade and Bradley Watts. So they are actually both internal hires. Both of them come from our licensing unit, which is well, it's being transferred back to the state, but a lot of the work that they have done in the past several years is very transferable as far as like skills wise, auditing files, right? So, and they both have service coordination experience. So we felt like between that, their experience and their interviews, it was a pretty clear decision. So we're excited to have them join us on our quality assurance unit.
So does that round out your unit, or are you still looking for
Yeah.
individuals?
Yeah, so that will be, for now, that's going to be our entire unit. So our unit right now consists of an administrative specialist, which is Malika. She's in our unit, she's helping build. And then it'll be Bradley and Christy and myself. Yeah, cool.
In addition to that, in terms of hiring, we're right now also finalizing a service coordinator recruitment, hiring on all 3 service coordination teams. So children, adult in-home and adult residential. And we just finished interviews last week. They're in the reference check phase, and that's 5 positions, all vacant refilled, not new positions, all vacancies being refilled. So, and we will have probably updates every month around hiring because it just continues in our program right now. In addition to hiring, other program updates, well, licensing is on the agenda today, so we'll probably talk more about the licensing going back to the state. That work continues. We just got our final IGA, intergovernmental agreement, our contract from the state was just fully executed, so we're expecting to get all our money. So that's happening. Then there's just a lot of stuff going on at the state, which impacts our program. We're involved in the update of the workload model, and that's the model that informs our budget and how many FTE it takes to do the work here at the county. And they're really rebuilding that model kind of from scratch. So they're doing work groups, tracking tasks, creating tools to assess how much time it takes us to do our work. And over the next year, rebuilding that model. So we're involved in that. There's also, you probably heard, maybe, and if you haven't, that the state is in the process of developing a new case management system that's statewide. Currently all CMEs have their own case management systems, and so that work is really starting, but right now the focus is, and they've hired a vendor, and the focus right now is to integrate that system with the one eligibility system and get them to speak together actually before we enter that in, start doing our case management work into these systems. So we're involved in lots of work groups around working with OAP, which is the one eligibility program, with our local APD office and things like that. So yeah, and then the QA work. So I would say those are our biggest program updates at this point in time, and that certainly is not all that's going on and probably all that's impacting you all. But that's what I could think of to share today. So any questions for me? Hi, John.
I'm gonna ask something that's the horse before the cart and the cart before the horse. My question is, even though that 2027 is the conversation of federal mandates and stuff, when is the appropriate time to act as a council in ways of changes within HB1 and other concepts that may be at the federal level within the state conversation within the county, and how we implement our services and ideals? So did that make sense, or should I get another microphone so you can hear better?
I am having a little bit of a hard time hearing you.
Yeah.
But okay. So, okay, can you ask it again? Sorry, John,
No, I'm gonna have to, so can you hear me better now?
kinda.
No. I'm gonna do it one more time, one more.
Okay, go ahead and ask the question again though, John.
How about now? Can you hear me, Val?
That's better, that's.
All right, so it's using my other microphone. All right, I'm gonna do that. So my question is, again, I understand this is a question that's ahead of what we're supposed to know and stuff, to the leadership, but I would like to know, even though we don't have to care till 2027, about HB1 or federal regulations, when would be the appropriate time to ask those type of questions within a federal mandate going to the state, and how to navigate that conversation within the council, and how we can understand what is happening in the county program level than just at the state level saying for us to wait till 2027 itself.
Yeah, and are you referring to the Medicaid, potential Medicaid changes?
Exactly, and I understand that others in the conversation spaces aren't working until 2026, but I also don't want to miss the conversation within the council at the county level when those issues may or may not come up in the future.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll need to bring things related to this to the council. You might have some comments in the chat too, Amy. But we'll definitely bring these things to the council. And at this time, like, we don't have any information about what those potential cuts. I do know that the state is starting to have, I heard, I think it was last week, about some like leadership advisory meetings where they were brainstorming what, if they have to make cuts, what might this potentially look like, but would also be getting stakeholder feedback. But right now, I don't really know how to answer the question, because I do think as we learn about these things, and it could be month by month that we're learning about something new or something different. So it could maybe be a standing agenda item around any potential Medicaid changes or updates that we can have a conversation about.
It'll be nice to have people with lived in experiences as they navigate the process beyond just the council. But it is hard to navigate where the county takes a little bit longer with care, and understand how we can get through those conditions in the future. Thank you for taking the question.
Yeah, I think we're going to touch a little bit more on this in the agenda today too. Thanks, John, for your question. I think that's it for me.
Okay, anybody else have any questions about any of those updates? No? Okay. Thanks, Stacy. I know there's a lot going on.
For all of us, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
It looks
For
like
everyone.
Lisa has to hop off
Okay.
at 5, so.
Okay.
Okay. And then Sarah, moving on, just the abuse reporting letter check-in.
So back in, let's say our last meeting was June 23rd, I think. On June 30th, I reached out to Mary Rumbaugh and Tracy Garrell, and they sent, and I sent, I don't think I sent it to the whole council. I think Sarah, I just sent it to you and to Chris and to Stacy and Kim. It looks like a letter that Mary and Tracy wrote back. And I'd be happy to share that with everyone as well. But pointing out that it's not really something that we can see happen on the from the county level, that it has to go to the state, and also that there, she pointed out that we already knew that there is a database that shows abuse, it shows what type of abuse, all of that, but it doesn't mention facilities in any way. And so then she said, let's see, there's a link for, let's see, and this is on the OTIS website, and OTIS dash data, and we had looked at that before, I think. And let's see here. She said it's their understanding there's a plan to link to facilities when a new case management system and provider system are up and running, and that they've asked that OHA and ODDS make it more visible for families. But I'm not sure what it's going to entail. I don't know any timeline or anything like that. So Mary had said that she would be happy to come and meet with the council and we could talk about next steps. And so I would like to request an invitation for her for next month. Then I know I had said I might be out today and I'm not, my plans changed. So if we could maybe invite her next month, that would be great because I'll be honest, I'm not sure what to do next. I'm happy to keep moving with this. I'm happy to reach out to people. I'm happy to do whatever needs to be done, but I need guidance on steps to take.
Thank you, Sarah, for the update. Do you think that the case management system she was referencing might be what you were
Yes,
just talking
I'm
about?
pretty sure it's all connected. Yeah, because the idea is that this statewide case management system would speak to all of the other systems involved. And I think it could includes provider stuff. I think it abuse stuff, CAM, which is the incident management types of things. It is going to be a long process to see. I mean, it already has been. And what we'll see first is just sort of integration probably in case management. And thankfully, the Medicaid stuff, but I don't know honestly about a timeline. And maybe Mary has more information because of her involvement with the AOC MHP. I mean, she was like the president or whatever it was for a while. And so like, I think Mary and or Tracy both would be, I don't know if 1 month away is enough time for their schedules, but it's worth an ask to find out when we can get them on that schedule next.
Sure. No, that would be great. And Mary, we spoke via email and then we spoke on the phone and she was very interested in sort of problem solving to look at next steps.
Yeah, great.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Have that down. Thank you, Sarah.
And I
Thank
do
you.
think it's okay to share the letter, like.
Oh,
widely.
absolutely.
I mean, it could probably with the whole council. Because the letter is directed to the entire council. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will, sure, I'll send it. I'll send it right after the meeting.
Yeah.
Council, the letter that Mary wrote to the entire council. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep, I'll send it.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. Does
Mhm.
anybody have any questions or comments about that?
So my question is, I heard this Mary posting notes about families. Do they know anything about direct lived-in experiences, or is it going to be a department / and what department is it, OHA or ODDS? This Mary posting.
For Mary Rumbaugh?
Yeah. Or is it Clackamas County?
Oh, she is the Director of Health, Housing and Human Services now here in Clackamas County, so
Got it.
over social
Totally.
services, which includes DD, mental health, public health, all of it, so yeah,
So that tells me, it tells me what, yeah, it tells me a lot,
yeah.
the languages on this council. Thank you.
So just to clarify, we meet this month, next month, and then we have a 2-month break, so it would be potentially January.
Yeah, if she can't make next.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah. If she can make it next month.
At least, I'm guessing Tracy can make it at
Yeah.
least, but anyway, we can find out.
I mean, it's a good update, I feel like, you know, they took the request seriously, they're really looking into it, there's some ideas floating around, so I do think that that is positive. And so then, yeah, we'll just work on seeing if they can come in and what else they have, and then, I mean, either one who comes might need a couple months to kind of develop a thought and then present it to us anyway, too, so. Yeah.
Well, my question is still, if we get to the end of the day and for whatever reason, the answer is no, we're not going to share information on facilities or anything, then my question will still be, why is it relevant for elder care homes and not for care of adults with disabilities? So I'm still going to, for my own person, for my own reasons, you know, I need to have that answered.
Yeah, understandable.
So hopefully it sounds like it might be in the works. So that's good.
Mhm.
Do you all need help with facilitating getting Mary on the schedule, or Sarah, were you going to continue?
I'd be happy to reach out to her.
Okay.
John?
And I guess my question is, I mean, some have lived in experiences, you know, may feel left out in some ways, but, and I say, sure, you've done a great job. My face is smiling in ways that we're going through the process, but I still am very concerned about when someone puts up a concern a month and a half, a year and a half ago, in ways to try to push for these types of compensations. It is interesting, the process in that. So my question is to the county, for later on or chairs or others in the future to put at least the process in the manual, the introduction manual of how we can put in council communications within others in the county and how we can point it out. If it's already in there, Amy and I bypassed it because you just gave me the manual. I apologize. But this is the first time that we've made a serious effort, and as a group and as, you know, former chair, that it would be nice to receive for future consideration, because it is an important step as we're going through this, and it's taken us too long in some ways. But I do want to point out, it would be nice to have a mind map of what we learned from this process and how we can communication, if it's the two month gaps that we take, you know, off, that makes it feel like, you know, 4 months are being neglected when, you know, taking half a year, or if it's, you know, taking a year and a half into where we are today. So that's my only note, with the efforts are made, even on concepts we agree or disagree, but it would be nice on the manual to have that conversation for future advocates in the future at the center where we can have it. The meeting that we had with Amy and others were very crucial in ways, and I want to commend the county's effort on trying, you know, to have those conversations also. But it would be interesting how we can maneuver these conversations for the future as others have other goals. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Sarah?
I agree with John. It has been quite a long time. And part of it, I will say, I don't have the background. I don't have the knowledge of how to, I don't want to overstep my bounds. I don't want to, certainly I don't want to ruffle the wrong feathers or anything like that. But I agree, it would be nice to, when we have something that is, in my opinion, of vital importance, to be able to move through it more consistently and effectively and preferably quickly.
And I do want to counter that a little bit, where it was important to have that one-on-one meeting with the county staff and still try to learn about the language as we move it with other self-advocates and other advisory members and other places, because bylaw-wise, it was very hard not to know if we could communicate outside of meetings and other places. So again, as someone who has lived in exchange, it was very important to have it with the county staff with us, trying to, get through the language and the step-by-step process that we're going through. And I appreciate the patience, but I do wish we could have a mind map next time and how we can move things forward. Thank you.
Yeah, and I do agree that it has taken a long time. I do think it was a really good learning experience, though. I feel like we all learned some things and figured it out. So maybe next time something really important comes along, we can move a little bit quicker through it. I also think we were initially asking for a relatively new system to be created, and we fine-tuned that a little bit. And now if we can just kind of get in on something that's already developed and roll with that, or something that's in the works, would be really great, because we're not going to be asking for something new. So I think it's probably appropriate that we're approaching it at this time, even though it took a long time. It sounds like new systems are being developed. That's going to be highlighted. It might actually be a really good, perfect slip in to be able to implement it. So well, Sarah, if you would reach out and see what Mary's availability is, or Tracy, or both. Whoever would like to, for either October or definitely January, because I recognize that we're almost in October already. So I know my calendar's full. I can't imagine how everybody else's is. But thank you, Sarah, for continuing your efforts on that. We all appreciate it for sure.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone's support as well. I appreciate it.
Okay, so if we're going to move on to Medicaid funding updates. Chris?
Well, I was kind of approaching this because it changes, seems like it's changing all the time. So I was kind of approaching it as some of the concerns that I've heard other parents have who are caring for mainly adults with disabilities. So with everything you hear, and it seems to be changing all the time, but the main concern is just reduction in services. And I know a lot of people are really concerned with, if you are a parent that is also a paid care provider for your adult child, how that's going to be impacted and if it will be impacted. So that's like one of the top concerns. Another one for parents would be the eligibility barriers. So like the whole 80-hour a month work thing, if you're an able-bodied person, and what does that able-bodied really look like and mean, and how would that vary? So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if we all have these same concerns. And then just the eligibility, I know that's starting next year, 2026, every 6 months, correct? To get to refile for eligibility for Medicaid. And just all the red tape and families that feel overwhelmed with even doing it annually. If people will start slipping through the cracks and things like that. So I know some of these things, that the cuts that are coming are, coming, some start in 2026 and then they'll just go on. But I think these are all concerns that a lot of parents in our positions have. And for those adults that need care, but maybe on the higher end of being able to live alone, but still need assistance, and how that's going to impact them and all those things. So I know in our support group that these topics come up monthly. And so I guess I was just trying to see what we can say differently, because I know the last meeting I think got changed to the 30th of this month. The Health and Human, I think it got changed for the 30th. It's supposed to be the 23rd, now it's the 30th.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have more updates on that. But I don't know if anybody has any other comments on it.
Sarah?
So I assumed that I would have to, that my daughter and I would have to go through eligibility for her, because she hadn't in a while. And then I received a letter saying she's been approved for Medicaid or received renewal of eligibility for 2 years. So Colleen, was that you as well? I mean, I was obviously pleasantly surprised, but yeah, that was a shock. So just want
I wonder why the difference is there.
I don't know.
Hmm.
No idea.
That's, yeah. I haven't had anything saying that I'm gonna have to do 6 months, but I did just annually is what I still.
Okay. Well, hopefully, yeah, well, like Stacy was saying earlier too, we'll have to just keep that kind of as an ongoing topic.
Yeah,
Because,
we get updates, but they're you're getting exactly the
Yeah.
same information, so we're going to the same. You know,
yeah,
yeah, and we hear the same conflicting information too. And, I mean, when we anticipate seeing actual changes that are occurring, will be in 2026. I mean, sometime,
Yeah.
nothing through the end of this year right now, but. And there can be things that are different for children than they are for
Yeah.
adults, and,
I was
Um,
gonna ask.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, could it be like more of a demographic like that? Is it, level of care, age,
mhm.
county? Is that even, I don't know how they would separate and look at cases. Maybe it's something kind of like
Yeah,
that.
and it's, so this last, some people I've spoken with, this last go around of their ONAs, some people who had, close to the maximum amount of hours, all of a sudden got dropped down to the lower tier for hours. And then I had some people say, oh, do you need more hours? And that person's, yeah, and they got the max. So it's really weird how they are assessed. And I don't know if that comes down to the person assessing them.
It can be, because also only, it can change based on age.
Yeah,
It can change if an assessor is doing it full on, every time an assessor does an assessment, it's a full new assessment
Yeah.
reset. Versus a service coordinator review, and the age can change, but they can't change any content sometimes in the assessment, so it's very individualized. And
Yeah.
whether, if you have a PBSP and different things implemented, not just the PBSP,
Yeah.
but that can change it, it is very individual, that's individualized based on a number of factors.
Reduction hours stuff.
Yes.
okay.
And they are implementing the in-home reduction hours, or
That
through
kind of
the
thing.
end of the
That sounds like
maintenance
it's been this,
effort.
yeah.
So
That's true,
people, I mean, there's a lot happening around that, although people can also request exceptions.
Yeah.
And so that's a big part of the
Yeah.
process as well. But yeah.
I don't know if you can hear me, but
Yeah.
my question to the county is that how good are we communicating that some of the section process and the hours that are given are part of the pre-pandemic numbers versus the pre-pandemic times in ways of getting the hours, when pandemic times happened, the hours got boosted up. So how good are we communicating with the community in ways of the past system of owner hours versus the current system that may or may not be in the future, where people think it's a cut, but honestly it's just another derivative of the rules that were in the past before the rules got changed again. Question mark.
I mean, I definitely think they're sharing the history with people, but some people come in not being part of the history, so that it can be a
Mhm.
completely different experience for families. So, anyway, yes, I mean, service coordinators are sharing the history and a lot of those things, but also it might depend on how experienced and how long your service coordinator has been here. Who
No.
also understands the history. So it can be there are gonna be a lot of factors involved in that
Yeah.
conversation, but you're right, there is a definite backstory to some of this. So.
Yeah.
I totally understand. I just remember the days of $10,000 on state funds, no
Yeah.
federal funds, and how we can have that conversation in ways of people thinking that section process only, in ways of that for businesses and guys. Thank you very much for answering that
Mhm.
question.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anne has a question or a
I can't
comment.
figure out how to make a yellow hand, but the other challenge I think as an agency owner, and I have had this conversation with many friends of mine who are agency owners, is this new rule that we have to have 3 months worth of payroll and expenses in the bank liquid in order to continue our certification, which is impossible for us as a nonprofit. We have about 180 staff, so that's about $3.5 million that would have to be liquid in the bank. And to do that as a nonprofit, we'd be a terrible nonprofit to sit on $3.5 million and not use it to and meet our mission. And so our challenge, I think, around all of us, I think that there were some audits that happened with some agencies last year that have caused all this to happen. But we're going to have to give away half of our agency in order to have the right amount of money in the bank. If we could borrow it, we're a nonprofit, so we can't. But if we could borrow it, then all we would do is be paying it back. That would be, we are a nonprofit that has 4% overhead. And so it's like there's no room to just sit on a bunch of cash in the bank. So I don't know if that has come up as
That's
part of
no,
this.
has not come up. So, thank you for sharing. It has not, I haven't heard it personally come up in any of our meetings, but that seems critical.
I mean, I think a lot of people are going to start reducing because it's the only way you can make it work. We are lucky enough to know someone, who has a similar mission and ability that can take half of our clients and half of our staff. But it's I don't know that everyone else has that
Yeah, yeah.
option. We're just trying to transition, just do an exact transition. They're going to do everything exactly the same so that it's seamless for families. One new W-4, but it's just a punch. It feels like the state is trying to just move everybody to PSWs and do away with the agencies. And they're going to be successful if they keep going.
Thank you for sharing. That's actually honestly, that has not come up in any of our recent meetings.
I know for like adult foster care, they want to have, it'll say when you're opening home, which has been a long time for me, but I do remember we had to have a certain amount of months in the bank of cash in order to be approved to be opened. I mean,
I think in the past, you could use a combination of equity in your home or in your business. Now it has to be liquid.
So this isn't new. This is just now something they're choosing to enforce.
This is a new requirement.
The liquid part is new.
The liquid part is the new part.
Yeah.
Well, 3 months is new this year.
Okay.
Is this where nonprofits have to spend the money, Anne, or is this another topic in ways of how the financial structure is happening?
Yeah, I think for me, if I had $3.5 million in the bank, then the IRS would close my nonprofit.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's like OHA grants, you have to spend everything before a certain date and
You do. And
got it.
Medicaid has the 80-20 rule where you have to spend 80% on your staff and benefits, which, we're at 96%. So I would think that should let the state understand that we are not saving any money. We are spending everything we can to meet our mission of housing independence. And so it's really challenging.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
a tough one. Will you keep us informed if you find out anything else about that, actually?
I will. Yeah, so I'm in my last week to get the money in the bank. So I'm in Scotland now, and as soon as I get back, it has to be in the bank. So it's and we do have a bunch of families who work for us who are like, well, we'll put money in, or we'll buy your business, or we'll help you, can we own your business with you? And it's not going to work for a nonprofit.
You're not able to, right? Like
so a
sort of
nonprofit can't get a
or
loan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't really care.
Yeah, and I've heard on nonprofits that recash allocations are difficult to try to maneuver, and so I know it's not exactly your side, but it is something that's hard where you can have so much funds saved or not saved, and how we maneuver our business model. you know, so
Right, right.
best of luck. I know I'm not getting exactly what your model is, but it is something that is an issue maybe outside of Clackamas County, it sounds like it is with Ann, so that will be the example, but for nonprofits, I can see that being an issue where you can't save any, well, we navigate the new system and rules. Thank you.
Right. And I think there are only two other nonprofit agencies in the state. I think the rest are for profit. And they're struggling to get that amount of money in the bank too. They're much bigger companies and, you know, they need 8 million, or one needs 56 million. That's, it's impossible. So.
Wow, that is pretty incredible.
That's scary.
Yeah, it is.
When you say agencies, are you talking about like brokerages, DSP agencies? Like what do you specifically?
The DSP agencies.
Okay.
Well, sorry to hear that. That's terrible. Like I said, let us know how that goes, and if you find out anything new, or if you figure a workaround or something.
We've tried. I think we're just gonna split.
It's hard to think that it'd be pushing towards just DSPs. I mean, I know I work for an agency so I'm a DSP for my daughter, but I literally keep trying to find other DSPs and I cannot. I've gone through 5, 6, 7 in the last few months, just trying to find somebody that's a good fit that will actually show up. So
yeah,
and it's interesting because if you look at the documentation that came out a couple of months ago, where the legislation approved a pay increase for DSPs on the first page, and on the second page it went to PSWs, but no rate increase for DSPs, and there was no justification. It just didn't happen, and so that seems like the writing on the wall for agents. If they're going to first only give a pay increase to PSWs but not DSPs, even though the legislation voted a raise in for DSPs, I don't know how the state could override that and only pay half of its caregivers a rate increase.
I mean, it was very disproportionate the amount that PSWs were paid compared to DSPs for the same amount of work.
PSWs are what I heard got a rate increase over DSP.
Yeah, but they were making way less than DSPs.
I thought that also DSPs got an increase. Am I
They
wrong
did
in
not.
that?
They
Okay.
did not.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
It's not a huge disparity in rate. When you think about the training component and the insurance and all of the insurances, our insurance went up 47% this year, and the state required 7 new insurances. So it's the bulk of our overhead is in insurance. We don't have an office. We don't have we don't have administrative staff that are just doing paperwork. I mean, we really are a narrowly funded. So.
I mean, a lot of
I know
DSPs don't even get benefits, don't have health insurance, and have to pay out of pocket, and you can definitely exceed that.
there are a lot of agencies who don't pay any insurance or 401k or leave, which I don't understand. Because, Oregon employment law says you have to have 40 hours of leave. So how you can pay some agencies pay a higher rate and then no benefits. And
yeah,
I don't see
that.
I don't see how that's
a higher
legal.
hourly rate, but no better.
I figure that's why they didn't pay benefits, is because they paid so much more than DSPs who do get benefits.
But it's not just Medicaid, it's employment law. I mean, it's Oregon employment law that they're breaking.
I know PSWs that were getting $17 an hour versus DSPs getting $30 an hour. That is a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
DSPs get $30 an hour.
But we all get the same rate.
It's how the
state
25, 26, 30.
Right. Right, it's how we all get paid the same amount per hour. It's just how the state PSWs decide to spend it compared to how and agencies are free. Some have unlimited overtime, some have, some just have, uh, some are just getting really, really big, really fast.
I heard the DSP agencies get like $40 an hour for the client, and then they choose how much of that to pay the DSPs. And that's why there's like such a range of how much they pay DSPs.
But they're also responsible for all the other things. It's just not all agencies are complying to the employment law
And
requirements.
PSW rates and foster provider rates are decided through collective bargaining, so they can.
Oh, PSW.
Yeah, yeah, so.
And they, and
Yeah,
I
that
know
is,
PSWs who make $27 and $28 an hour and also get the credit card because they're on Medicaid, so they
Wow.
get a credit card to pay. I mean, it's a range in agencies and it's a range in PSWs. And then it's a range based on what kind of client and what their rate is. So there's a lot of things at play besides the rate.
Okay, so that is a good difference to point out. That's huge. Now my brain understands the difference between.
Also, PSWs have,
Yeah.
sorry,
ahead.
PSWs are also under dang it, what is it called? Union. But like they're under a
Yeah.
union where
Right.
DSPs are not. Like
Yeah,
they don't have.
FEIU.
that's the collective bargaining. So SEIU actually bargains those rates and it is completely different. And it is often very different, but it's not really anything that anybody can do about that at this moment. But yes, and Ann, you guys, you're right, like that's two different funding types, so it does create some interesting things there. For the sake of time, I'm gonna keep going in the agenda, but thank you guys for the thoughtful conversations and all the information. I think it is really important to watch this moving forward, for sure, as things shift over the next year or so. So the next on the agenda is the licensing changes to changing to adult foster care, changing from the local CDDPs and moving to ODDS. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody's kind of aware of this now. I think we touched base on it a little bit in the last meeting. So just from what I know, the ODDS has held one big meeting with most foster care providers. And Clackamas County just had a second personal meeting with ODDS, trying to kind of navigate the change, answer questions, fears and concerns. From what I have experienced personally in Clackamas County, it seems like there's a lot of development still happening on ODDS. They have some answers, but not a ton of answers. They took a lot of notes and they're going to get back to us. And so I don't think another meeting date has been set for Clackamas County yet, but it is definitely an interesting shakeup. I had a few questions for the county around this. And so you kind of answered one of them. One of the questions that I personally had was, would Clackamas County retain any of the staff or would they be moving to ODDS? Because I know it was offered, but through your QA hire, you've answered a couple of those.
Yeah, you can see that two of them will be transitioning to the QA.
Yeah.
There will be positions for all of the staff if they want to remain employed in Clackamas County. Whether or not they have not been offered or been given any information about what potential licensing positions at the state could look like in order to make an informed choice about whether or not they would be, but they will all be given they'll all be given the option if they want to try to apply for a position at the state. They're gonna have to meet minimum qualifications. The state is still trying to figure that out. Basically, all they know is what classification is gonna be, but like that was the only detail that they have so far, which is kind of anyway.
Yeah.
So we also have been in communication with our staff here that, that they will be, I think it, and I honestly think it has to happen by the 1st of October, that we have to present their options to them here at the county as well, because our staff are represented by a union. But we have ensured that we will have something available for them. There is no similar classification within our program to move them to, but, yeah. But there would be something, yeah, so we won't. And they actually can choose not to take either, so that'll be the other thing, like. They could choose to accept a layoff instead, we don't anticipate that, but they will have all of their options, and honestly, we've been trying to set up a meeting since mid-August with the state's HR and our HR, and they don't have their stuff ready at the state.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, so we'll see how it plays out. So far, it's playing itself out a little bit internally because 2 people have moved or will be moving to the QA unit, but there's still a few more staff. So,
Okay, just a second, John, if you wouldn't mind.
No problem. Your angle.
I might
Totally.
create more questions that you will have. The other question that I had is, what impacts, if any, are you kind of pre-anticipating? I know that's a loaded question,
Yeah.
for Clackamas County, though, like internally here, because we advise you, and so
Yeah.
is there what do you see could be problematic? What do you see could be maybe risks or positive, I guess? Like, how will this impact the county here? Other than losing,
Yeah. Well, I think probably off my cuff, and again, licensing is more of Kim's area than mine. However, I think what we'll see is some of the burden is then placed on case managers. I mean, I think that's probably the most obvious one, and the state will be about the compliance, but then they'll be sending us out. I mean, there'll be a compliance and go out into homes as well, but they will be looking at case managers for extra monitor. They'll be making requests of us that maybe our licensing team handled previously.
Okay.
So we anticipate that could be a thing. We are concerned about losing the connection with our provider community, so we're trying to maintain our provider engagement project in some way, and some of those types of things. And I don't know how to fully answer it beyond that, but I mean, I was at the meeting as well, and I can tell you that I don't typically attend the licensing meetings or the transition. Kim does, that she's on vacation, and I was really struck by how much our provider community is grieving this change and the concerns of you all as providers, and not having really clear answers at the state about, like, but are you going to be available in the same way I can call my licensor here, and some of those things. I don't know, there was so many kudos for our licensing staff, lots of praise saying, and then ODDS's answers to your questions were super vague. And so I don't think it left anybody feeling super reassured. And so of course we're worried about the impact to you all as well. So I don't know. And outside of that, like Krista and Kim may have other more things. And our residential supervisors might have other thoughts about things that they're anticipating that might be of concern.
Yeah. Okay, I thought it would be important to put it on the agenda for this month, because it's kind of a huge change.
Yeah.
For providers, and then of course, obviously, the folks that we serve, and it's just gonna change some things. And so I'm sure it'll impact the county quite a bit, actually, everybody actually, so. John?
Oh, good. I'm off mute. Sorry about that. You kind of go back and forth on this foster care county to state ideal that's happening. Stacy, are they changing any of the employees' qualifications within the county requirements versus the state requirements as they transition to the state model in ways of the employment qualifications and all that stuff that you were talking about? Or is it going to be a clean transfer of power in ways of the qualification portion where, you know, your employees will be at status within the state regulation?
Yeah, that's a great question. No, there is no guarantee that they will have the qualifications to transfer, even if they've been doing the work. So state qualifications are completely separate from our our qualifications here at the county. And so they can require, for example, a 4-year degree where we allow people to substitute experience for education. That's probably one of the primary examples. But again, we haven't seen what those are, but yeah, that could, they wouldn't automatically transfer. There definitely will be some differences in the requirements for the job.
That's what I thought. So my other question would be, who was the department director on that call in ways of the state side when you were doing that?
Oh, the meeting last week, there was no director. Was there a director on?
Darn it, John, I know it's in here somewhere, but I may not be able
I mean,
to
Laura-
produce it.
I'm hoping I'm not asking an inappropriate question for county, but I do think it's important to put it on record, what department level it was.
Right.
Well, Laura Copeland, she's the leader, like she's leading the foster transition project at ODDS, but I don't believe she's a manager. Then Micah Cisco was on that call, the ODDS liaison, but it's like for all service. Who else was on there? Was John?
I don't know who else was on there, but who did the first one? Because I feel like.
Oh,
that-
I wasn't on, I don't. Was
I
it
don't have
Jessica
those-
Dennison?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so Jessica Dennison is the manager, primary manager there. She
Okay.
wasn't present at this recent one at Clackamas County, but I think she's probably been the one that's involved.
She was the one that did the original, like, everybody come and join the ODDS.
Yeah.
Like the, I don't know what they were calling it. They called it something, kind of like the initial, hello, this is what's happening. And then the design is to break it up through county. And yes, I felt like it was,
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything bad, but it was, we were hoping for more. It was,
Exactly.
a little bit poorly
So
executed.
my question, Chair, and I'll black out myself so I can get closer to the mic. My question, Chair, and for the county is, as Clackamas County Advisory Council members of the DB community, how can we advise the county when it's going to be done by the state entity? And how can we better communicate that we need our input within these types of concepts when they may or may not make it a state entity versus a county entity? So again, we're only county. We're only supposed to care about a county as council members. But the problem or issue that might come in the future within bylaws and conversation spaces is we will have to input how our county may or may not be changed within these types of state policy sometimes. And
Yeah, this was a legislative decision, and so, and a lot of feedback was provided, and they said it was a cost savings. We'll see if that is really true, and that's something that the governor wanted, and so a lot of input was provided, but it felt like that that they were headed in a direction regardless. Right, that's what it felt on from the side of like sharing what the experience would be, but yeah, it would, and honestly, part of legislative processes require that ODDS put things like this as potential cost savings measure on every single budget. Normally, like, when taking work that doesn't rise to the level, and so everybody was really kind of surprised that this was an actual cost savings, so, anyway.
all right. So I'm going to stand down to the chair in ways of, I do believe that when the state policy becomes, a county policy becomes a state, how do we as advisory members, navigate that type of conversation? But yeah.
Well, what I was gonna say is, though, we could talk about how do we continue to engage our provider community here in Clackamas County, because we still have a responsibility for ensuring people receive services, that they're healthy and safe in these settings, they're in our community. So we still have to figure out a way to do that and work with our provider community here. And I think we're so in the middle of this chaotic transition that I think it's hard to
To know what that looks
to
like?
know, and yeah,
Yeah.
but I do think the council could advise on like ways
Alright.
to do that. And I just know that our residential supervisors, Brooke and Sandy, have continued some of the provider engagement efforts, hoping that maybe they can build on that. But yeah,
So I want to, I want
we're
to
gonna have
point
to continue to have, yeah.
I still want to point out that that offer has now been, on record here in this conversation. But, Stacy again, and the chair, it's important to have those with lived-in experiences, within Clackamas County to also have that communication within the two names that you just mentioned at the county level, or as we continue with the state level of that conversation. Thank you, and good luck on it.
And I know from a provider side, there's a lot of concerns around consistency, OIR, expectations, differences between, same OIR, but the interpretations between the county and the state. What's that going to look like? What is that? Is that going to be a real kind of like blowback on providers? Is the state going to come in and say, nope, all of this is not correct, but wait, this is what we have? Or will things be consistent? I feel like that is like one of the biggest concerns. Will all of our documentations meet standard, just things like that, which could cause a lot of confusion. And then what's the state going to do about that? Is there going to be a grace? Is there going to be a learning period? Or is it going to be just, lots of citations and confusions? And so I know there's just a ton of stuff that will trickle down and impact the whole county. So like county offices, everyone in the county. So yeah, definitely a lot of stuff going on. So thanks, John, for your feedback on that too. I'll keep moving along. So the next one is foster care changes. And so again, in this budgeting, so there's a few things going on, and I just wanted the council to kind of be aware of it. Is not necessarily a ton of conversation that has to be had, but I know that in this budget, there was a lot of, in this legislative session, I should say, there was a lot of funding that was given out to different service models. I know that DD and mental health are not receiving any cost of living increase this year. They're one of the only, I think, service models that aren't going to be seeing a cost of living increase. So that's pretty impactful. And there's lots of, thoughts behind that, but that doesn't really matter. So I know that that's one thing that as soon as the bargaining agreement gets signed, which I hear is going to be almost any time now, that will be released. So I'm sure that's going to hit pretty heavy with a lot of individuals across the state, including our county. And then also, there has been a request made by Oregon adult foster care providers, which also impacts Clackamas County, to be removed from the union, to separate from SEIU and have a different association or council represent them at the state level and legislation and just pretty much everything. So that has been underway now for probably a month or two. There were some things that opened up that door. SEIU did some things. They're being somewhat saying it was a little unethical. There was some things going on which opened the door for foster care providers to be able to go in and request separation. So it has gone through, it has gone to the ERB. There is a hearing that is taking place November 3rd and 4th. I'm not entirely sure if that's open to the public. I feel like it might be. So if anybody's interested in following along in this development, the ERB will decide whether the foster providers can go ahead and separate, whether they, approve, decline, if they appoint a new group to represent adult foster care homes or providers, et cetera. So that's just kind of what's going on there. I've been a foster provider for 25 years, and I remember when the union came knocking on doors, excuse me, asking for people to sign up. So it's been a lot of years that SEIU has represented foster care providers. So this would be a huge change. So I just wanted the council to kind of know that that is happening. Any questions or anything on that? That was kind of more informatory, really.
I had a question on something that was previously said that I forgot to ask. When you were talking about like qualifications changing, what positions were you specifically talking about, like that there might be added requirements like a degree?
Licensing, so the licensing positions for foster care. And certification for children's foster care, that's going back to the state, so that. The difference in qualifications are between the county's classification and what the state would require, so it may
But
limit.
not for DSPs and
No,
PSWs.
no,
Okay.
no, just for these.
I was like,
Yeah,
oh man, we already have a shortage.
no,
Like if they did
yeah.
that,
They
like we'd be
asking
screwed.
that question, because that's an important clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, not for DSPs or PSWs.
Thank you. That
Thanks,
was all.
Sarah. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for asking.
Does this have to do with, agency with choice, or just a different, or just rub ground? Where does this stem from in ways of why SEIU is stemming the separation? And with, maybe a new classification maybe coming in the future of workers and other provider types and stuff?
SEIU isn't requesting the separation. Adult foster care home providers are requesting the separation. SEIU has said that they're open to granting a release. They want to focus more on the employee side of things, not foster care providers. House Bill 3838 was something that kind of went through, and there's a lot of stuff around that. I would, suggest you to kind of Google and research that one, because we don't have time for that today, but
No,
that
we don't.
that was what kind of pushed this movement, to my understanding.
Yeah, just
So,
to the chair as a note, when you say, House Bill 3838, that helps me a lot in knowing and understanding exactly where we are on the conversation of union representation who's taken over. Thank you.
perfect, you're
Hey,
welcome.
John.
Any other questions for that, or are we good to move on? Okay, perfect. So the next thing on the agenda is our annual agenda planning. So basically with this, I wanted to throw it out there to the council, some ideas. We would like to plan for next year for 2026. We have our meeting in October, which there are some agenda items that we have talked about. One being the point-click care system being put on to the October agenda. Just some different things, but essentially what I'd love to have everybody do is shoot an email, kind of like we did in the last session for some members that were here. Give me all of your ideas. You can group email them, you can email them just to Chris and I, whatever you feel is best. And then we're going to kind of compile all of those things, and we'll come back next month and we will set the agenda as a council. That way, rolling into January, we know what we're talking about. We have a clear, plan ahead of what we want to tackle. So this is basically just, let me know, let us know what you think is important, and then we can go from there. But I would really, really like to set the agenda next month. So if we can do that.
Who do we send it to exactly?
To the group email. So you can just, or myself, whatever's easiest for you.
Thanks.
Sure, can you share your email address and I can just pop it in the chat?
Excuse me. Wait.
_ Cole Lambert at Comcast on it. Well, I was up for that one.
Oh, it's CS and then golf and then number 1 at Gmail.
You should know those down.
I never know, it just
There you
always
go.
pre-populates.
So if you just want to group us in an email and send us your ideas, that would be amazing. I want to make sure that everybody's voice is heard, and every topic that you'd like to talk about, we at least capture in the agenda year. So it's really, really important to us to hear from you guys on this. So.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah,
I know that's
please.
just take a lot of your space. For next meeting, we will have, and probably moving forward with the, as you'll know, with the QA unit starting its activities that we're starting actually probably around January 1st, if not sooner. We are going to need some regular feedback. And we do have a policy upcoming that's going to get rolled up pretty quickly. regarding client authorizations, so releases of information. And that one does impact the community quite a bit, and so if we could take some time, I'm hoping it won't take up too much of your time, but this is something that we'd really like some guidance on.
Okay. Do you think that, we need to maybe make a permanent space for a few months to have it? Okay,
I don't anticipate having a full policy for you to review, but I do have some touch points to go over and to review with you all.
okay. And you said this was on client authorization? The first one?
Like a release of information. So what, the things that you signed to allow us to send referrals,
Hmm.
all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah, because that's the process. Okay,
Uh-huh.
perfect. Any questions or comments or anything about any of those things?
Are we supposed to be offering up ideas right now or just do it through email?
No, just through the email, but I would love to have it sooner than later so that when we have our executive session, we can really discuss all of those options and maybe kind of compile it, send it out to the rest of you, and then we can talk as a council next month and really iron out the agenda. So sooner than later would be great. John?
Yeah, though email is most preference, I do wonder about self-advocacy. Even as chair, it's hard to navigate that conversation knowing the balance of the advisory council. But we do need to point out options within the self-advocacy coalition to other county options within those with lived-in experiences outside just family providers or provider types that may or may not have that voice. So I mean, I would love to have that conversation. Unfortunately, the one that we did do, the self-advocacy CEO got busy because of some OCDD conflicts, but it would be nice to have some rather than just beyond just regional reps and other conversations, how we can navigate that. I can take that when I'm done with my term or in my term would be great, but I would love to see where others could be included in the conversation. Thank you.
John. Okay. So moving on for the sake of time, council membership updates. Do you want me to update or Chris? I just noticed that you're on there too. I don't want to be the only one talking, so. Would you like me to do it or do you want to do this?
You can do it.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Sorry.
So I just wanted, and actually something else popped to my attention, which wasn't on the agenda, so hopefully it's okay if I just mention that too. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of remind everybody on the bylaws were in terms of office. So the one piece that's really important, and I'm just gonna read it, it's in our Article 4, and it just says, so it's about council member attendance. Moving into the new year and the new agenda and everything that we're gonna do, I just wanna make sure everybody is aware. I know that absences happen, life happens, sickness happens, all sorts of things happen, but just if you have to miss a meeting, if you would just please communicate with anybody, Amy, myself, Chris, just anybody, and let us know. Hey, I'm still here. You don't even have to say why, just say I'm just not going to make it would be absolutely great. Because it says in our bylaws that council members are expected to attend meetings regularly. If a member fails to attend any 3 meetings in succession, so in a row, without cause, that position will be considered vacant and a new member will be selected as outlined elsewhere in the bylaws. We don't want to see that happen because we value each and every one of you. So please don't forget, if you just can't make a meeting, just say, hey, I can't make it. We don't really need an explanation, but we do want to hear from you guys. So, and that's pretty much it. Thank you,
I would
John.
like to say, I know I've been gone for the past 3 months. This is my first time back. I did request when I first joined this group for a reasonable accommodation for disabilities at the start of the meeting, or like 5 minutes prior, like if I'm not in the chat, like if I could get a phone call, and they said that was fine, and I had not heard from anybody for 3 months.
For sharing.
Yeah,
I will
We'll
follow
follow
up
up.
with that.
yeah, definitely.
That's very helpful information from my side, Leah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm
for
like
that.
literally anyone. If they could call me, shoot me a text at
we
the
also
beginning of
did-
it. Yeah.
we didn't meet in July or August.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if that is
exactly.
in reference to the last meetings that I've missed, that is why.
This is not directed at any member in particularly. This is just more for your information. If you have a reason that you need to miss the meeting, just to please let us know so that this doesn't happen.
Lara,
Essentially.
you're not the only one who's missed meetings
No,
either, so that's
no.
why we're making it
Okay.
an announcement.
Yeah, if this was
Because
one.
I would be
house, we would-
available. I just have some short-term memory issues.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that, sorry, I keep looking at my watch just because I want to make sure I am aware of every, like respectful of everyone's time. I noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the bylaws, when I was reading over it, it says the expiration dates for terms should be staggered, and there should be no more than 50% of the members' terms that expire in the same year, and everybody is expiring, almost everybody in 2027. So as a council, do we need to do something with that?
You should.
Okay. Sorry, I know this wasn't on the agenda, but I just,
They're staggered, but it's the same year, so.
yeah, and it says, in the same year, in our bylaws, it actually says shouldn't expire in the same year, so I don't know.
Yeah, I can reach out, or have Emily could reach out to our superiors and see what we need to do about that.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, plus that should get kind of
Yeah.
interesting on the 27th. So I just wanted to make the council kind of aware of that, so we'll see what happens, and we might have to address that. And so that leaves us we're running a little bit late, but we're at open floor, so do we have any guests?
We don't have any guests today.
Okay, is there any other article of conversation, like anything anybody else wants to talk about in the open floor time? I know John popped off. I thought he'd said he had like a good of the order that he wanted to share, but maybe next time. So, anything? No? I would love, I have in my little notes, I'd love to have some sort of community outreach that the council does next year at some point. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know with everyone's times, but it might be kind of neat to do some sort of community outreach so that people even know who we are. I mean, we get to be part of the resource fair, which is really nice, but it doesn't have to be giant or anything, but something, because we've talked about it in the past, so I thought that might be kind of cool. So think about that when you guys are thinking about your agenda topics too, so.
I think we need some kind of outreach for the IDD program in general because so many people don't even know it exists.
Yeah, I know the resource fair has been pretty cool the last couple years, which is a step in the right direction, but I hear you. A lot of people don't understand.
I've referred like countless people to the program who needed to be in it or whose children needed to be in it and didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Lyra. I mean, we hear that all the time. And we, like our eligibility and outreach folks, I mean, we go around at all the schools, we're at any event that we're, and so we always appreciate people sharing, but a lot of people do hear word of mouth, and our enrollments remain extremely high in this program. So a lot of people do hear about us, but at the same time, we hear that, like, for 24 years, I've heard that, that people who should know about us don't, and so
Yes.
we're always looking for ideas and how to figure out how to make sure they get the information,
I
because
think there's more
Yeah.
school districts that are starting to have resource fairs
Yeah.
also, so
Yep.
maybe if we attend one of theirs.
Yep.
I don't.
I feel like DHS should have more like the way that they try signing people up for like TANF or food stamps or OHP, they should be advocating for like is anyone in your household like have a disability? Would it be a intellectual or developmental disability? Like you might want to apply for this program.
Yeah. When somebody applies in the one system, it does ask that question, and sometimes it will trigger a referral to us, but the questions are never specific enough to know if it's actually a developmental disability or not. And so that part
Yeah.
of the conversation that's happening as we work with OEP, is to like be more intentional about some of those questions. So it's interesting you brought that up. I think the other thing, Lyra, we struggle with is the turnover in every office or school, and it's like, we actually have to do it once a year everywhere. So, like, in order to make sure the people who have the connection are making those referrals to us, you can't just do it once and think, oh, I covered that district, or I covered that
Yeah.
office, because staff turnover
Yeah.
is great everywhere, and so, and I'm like, yeah, we could use probably all the help we could get to make that happen, because right now it falls pretty much primarily on our eligibility team, and they do, I mean, they average at least one event per month, but, you know, we also kind of go where we're invited. We haven't intentionally gone other places, and that's where I think we need to identify, you know, underserved communities, and where have we not been?
Well, and where are these things being advertised? Like you say,
Yeah.
there's a monthly event. I've never even heard about it. I'm a person that's in services, like, and so if this is not getting to people, either like the right groups on social media or flyers being posted certain places, like, then people are not going to show up.
Well, and the events I'm referring to, they have a targeted audience already, so it might be one school district, or it might even be just
Okay.
one age group at a school district.
Yeah.
So it, yeah, but I think it'd be great conversation, because about
Like, and
how,
it's not just children either. Like,
no,
you know,
it's
children
everybody.
grow
I will
up
agree.
into adults, and then,
Yes,
yeah, like we have a homeless epidemic, like on the streets,
yeah,
and a lot of those people are people who would have been in services if
Yeah.
they had someone helping them and knew to apply for them.
yeah. We've been working really closely with Father's Heart, who does a lot of that outreach too, and we've been getting referrals. But there's always room for improvement, and we always know we're missing people, but we don't have a crystal ball to know who they all are either. So, but I'm interested honestly in your all's ideas about how to
And sometimes
better
people
share.
don't really, I mean,
Yeah,
we had a lady that came to one of our parent group meetings, and her son went through the school system through a regular diploma.
yeah,
And so he wasn't really flagged,
Yeah.
but he has disabilities.
Yeah.
He's on the autism spectrum,
Yeah.
he has cerebral palsy. And so we're like, because he can't drive by himself, and there's a lot of things he can't do. And so we're like, why don't have you ever thought about applying for service? She goes, no, I was never told that I could. And so, yeah, it's not your all's fault.
no,
But,
it's not,
yeah,
but I think
she-
it's like
he's
a
just-
community, like
Yeah,
but
it's-
how do people know about us?
Oh,
We
I
have
think
to
it's
be,
word of
right?
mouth, like you
It's-
said.
Yeah, and it's
It
just
is.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is gonna be.
It sounds like a great topic.
It's one of the goals there, just like, I think you're right on point with that. I think that's one of the goals of the DD Advisory Council period, is to engage with the community.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because I've had
Find
multiple
out ways
people
to
that
do it.
like after they applied, like were told, like, you should have been in services years ago. Like, I don't know how you have not been in services. Like, how are you
Yeah.
surviving?
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Great.
All right, well, that is definitely something that we can continue to talk about in the future stuff. So we are 2 minutes ahead of time. Is everybody okay if we adjourn 2 minutes early? Yes, thank you, everybody, for your time. We appreciate you, each one of you, so.
Thank you.
Okay, so move to, I guess, adjourn 2 minutes early. A second, perfect. See you guys next month.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you all.
Bye.